Representative Greg Murphy just tore into the Smithsonian director over political activism in American history museums. He said he was enraged that academics feel it is their personal arena to espouse political beliefs in the guise of objective history. He asked if the director removed rigorous research from the museum's mission statement. The director said they started a new strategic plan in 2019. Murphy said that is not an answer.
I don't understand this. And Ms. Hart, you said you want us to do research, but you've removed, is my understanding, did you remove rigorous research from the mission statement of the American History Museum? That's what I have down here. Yes or no? Not hard.
When I came to the museum in 2019, we started on a new strategic plan.
All right, so you removed rigorous research, which is what we're supposed to do, and rigorous research, at least in my field, is something that's balanced.
He asked if the director can honestly say the museum is not engaged in political activism. The director said he can honestly say he is not engaged in political activism. Murphy said the facts smack us in the face otherwise. He said we need rebalancing. He said we don't need political activists in charge of this nonsense. He said certain books are not right for kids. He said that is not burning books or suppressing free speech. It is called being an adult and making sure kids get the right material. He yielded. Let's watch.
5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, when I was prefaced with this, the subject matter of this hearing, I kind of said, really, are we really doing this? And then when you get to read it, I just become enraged. Why you guys feel that it is your political, or that is your personal arena to have your political beliefs espoused upon the American people in the guise that it is objective American history is beyond me. You know, I've been a surgeon my entire life, and we don't revise things, we adapt. We don't make up the spleen as being a different organ, by the way. Why people do this, I don't know. You know, I was on a board for my college, and the president of that college decided it was her particular mission to turn a balanced college into her political playground. Sadly enough, she's now the president of the National Trust for Historic Preservation, so God only knows what's going to happen with this. It is just beyond me why you feel you have the right to make your political opinions history. And you can't understand that your job is to present balance to the American people. Your job is not to be an activist. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. And how you can sit there and tell us that you're not doing this in any manner that you're trying to be truthful is beyond me. I don't understand that. I just don't have that type of calculus in my brain. What you're doing, the examples that you see time and time again, there are absolute political activism. You're not trying to tell a balanced story of America. You're trying to tell it from a leftist, progressive viewpoint. Period. Period. Mr. Blight, you know, I was looking at your CV. You've written a lot on slavery. Who was the first person to own a slave in the United States?
The first person?
The first person to legally own a slave in the United States.
I'm not sure I can give you a name.
Well, you should know this. You're the scholar that has researched all this. Anthony Johnson. Why would you not know that?
Oh, I know about Anthony Johnson.
Have you ever written on him? I don't think you have.
Excuse me.
I looked up, and I don't think you have. I don't know why not.
Well,
if we're going to tell a real history...
Anthony Johnson is in a textbook I'm a co-author on, so I have read about him.
If we're going to tell real history
and
not be revisionist, you said we aren't woke, we want to awaken. Well, they held me the same damn thing. Give me a break. I just, beyond me, I don't understand this. And Ms. Hart, you said you want us to do research, but you've removed, is my understanding, did you remove rigorous research from the mission statement of the American History Museum? That's what I have down here. Yes or no? Not hard.
When I came to the museum in 2019, we started on a new strategic plan.
All right, so you removed rigorous research, which is what we're supposed to do, and rigorous research, at least in my field, is something that's balanced. Sadly enough, we even have now the pollution of wokeism in medicine. One of the former heads of the Smithsonian is now the head of the AAMC, and he's decided it's his political mission to poison medical school, where people's lives are at stake. They're not writing little storybooks, they're not writing little history books, it's people's lives are at stake. where political activism has to be. So you talked about gun rights earlier. Is there, there's an exhibit talking about the ills of guns. Is there one about gun rights?
I'm not aware of an exhibit talking about the ills of guns, sir. We hold the National Armament Collection and Gun Collection. I'd be honored to give you a tour.
No, honestly, guys, I'd have to take a lot of Phenergan before I went on a tour of this place, given what I've had.
We'd be honored to have you, sir.
I don't understand why you guys in your academic circles, look, I've been in academics and I'm not a dummy, why you feel you have to, yeah, I know, that's why I brought it up, but he didn't admit it. But anyway, why you feel you have to be politically active in this. Can you honestly say right in front of this whole committee and to the American public that what you're doing in your museum is not political activism?
Sir?
Yes or no?
I can honestly say to the American people and to this august committee that I am not engaged in political activism.
Well, the absolute facts smack us in the face otherwise. And I would agree with Mr. Gonzalez. Something needs, some rebalancing needs to occur. And we don't need political activists in charge of this nonsense. And yes, there are certain books that are not right for kids to have. And that's not burning books, that's not suppressing the press, it's not suppressing free speech. It's called being an adult and actually trying to make sure that our kids get the right material and we don't pollute their minds too early. Mr. Chairman, I'll yield back.
Representative Greg Murphy just delivered a masterclass in how to expose the politicization of American history museums. He did not come with a speech. He came with questions. He came with the frustration of someone who has seen institutions abandon their mission of objective history. He came with the belief that the Smithsonian has become a platform for leftist activism. And he left no doubt about the answer. The exchange between Murphy and the witnesses was not just a routine hearing. It was a confrontation about the fundamental question of whether our cultural institutions are serving the public or serving a political agenda. It was about whether the Smithsonian will continue to present a balanced view of American history or become a tool of progressive activism. Murphy began by expressing his outrage. He said he was enraged that academics feel it is their personal arena to espouse political beliefs in the guise of objective American history. He said he has been a surgeon his entire life, and surgeons don't revise things. They adapt. They don't make up the spleen as a different organ. He said he doesn't understand why people do this. The metaphor is powerful. Surgeons deal with facts. They deal with reality. They cannot change the human body to fit their ideology. They must adapt to the reality of the human body. Historians should do the same. They should adapt to the reality of the past. They should not revise history to fit their ideology. Murphy was making a fundamental point about the nature of truth. Truth is not malleable. It is not subject to political manipulation. It must be respected and preserved. Murphy told a story about a college president who turned a balanced college into her political playground. He said she is now the president of the National Trust for Historic Preservation. He said God only knows what will happen with that. The story is a warning. It is a warning about the consequences of allowing political activists to take over our cultural institutions. It is a warning about the erosion of objectivity and balance. It is a warning about the transformation of institutions that were once dedicated to preserving history into platforms for political advocacy. Murphy said it is beyond him why academics feel they have the right to make their political opinions history. He said their job is to present balance, not to be activists. He said he doesn't understand how they can sit there and tell the committee that they are not doing this in a way that is truthful. He said he doesn't have that type of calculus in his brain. He said what they are doing is absolute political activism. He said they are not trying to tell a balanced story of America. He said they are trying to tell it from a leftist progressive viewpoint. Period. Murphy then turned to Mr. Blight. He said he looked at his CV and saw he has written a lot on slavery. He asked who the first person to own a slave in the United States was. Blight said he wasn't sure. Murphy said he should know this. He said the answer is Anthony Johnson. He asked why he didn't know that. Blight said he knows about Anthony Johnson. Murphy asked if he had ever written on him. He said he didn't think he had. Blight said Anthony Johnson is in a textbook he co-authored. Murphy said, if we are going to tell real history and not be revisionists, then we should tell the truth. He said the woke movement wants to awaken, but they told him the same damn thing. He said, give me a break. The exchange about Anthony Johnson is revealing. Anthony Johnson was a black man who owned slaves in 17th century Virginia. He is a historical figure who complicates the narrative of American slavery. He is a figure who challenges the simplistic notion that all slaves were black and all slave owners were white. He is a figure who could be used to tell a more complex and balanced story of American history. But Blight did not know his name. He is a scholar who has written extensively on slavery, but he did not know the name of the first person to own a slave in the United States. That is a failure. It is a failure of scholarship. It is a failure of education. It is a failure of the very institutions that are supposed to preserve and teach American history. Murphy then turned to Ms. Hart. He said she wants them to do research, but she removed rigorous research from the mission statement of the American History Museum. He asked if that was true. Hart said when she came to the museum in 2019, they started a new strategic plan. Murphy said so she removed rigorous research, which is what they are supposed to do. He said rigorous research is something that is balanced. He said there is now the pollution of wokeism in medicine. He said one of the former heads of the Smithsonian is now the head of the AMA, and he has decided it is his political mission to poison medical school. He said people's lives are at stake. He said it is not like writing little storybooks. He said political activism has to be kept out of medicine. The removal of rigorous research from the mission statement is a significant change. Research is the foundation of scholarship. It is what separates objective history from political advocacy. When an institution removes rigorous research from its mission statement, it is signaling that it is no longer committed to objective scholarship. It is signaling that it is more interested in advocacy than in truth. It is signaling that it has abandoned its mission. Murphy called it out. He said rigorous research is balanced. He said the museum is not presenting a balanced story. He said it is presenting a leftist progressive viewpoint. Murphy then asked about gun rights. He asked if there is an exhibit about the ills of guns. He asked if there is one about gun rights. Hart said she is not aware of an exhibit about the ills of guns. She said they hold the National Armament Collection and Gun Collection. She offered to give him a tour. Murphy said he would have to take a lot of Phenergan before he went on a tour of the museum. Hart said she would be honored to have him. The exchange is a telling example of the museum's bias. The museum has exhibits that are critical of guns. It does not have exhibits that are supportive of gun rights. It is presenting one side of the issue. It is not presenting a balanced view. It is engaging in political activism. Murphy then asked the central question. He said he doesn't understand why academics feel they have to be politically active. He asked if Hart could honestly say that what she is doing in the museum is not political activism. Hart said she can honestly say she is not engaged in political activism. Murphy said the absolute facts smack us in the face otherwise. He said something needs rebalancing. He said we don't need political activists in charge of this nonsense. He said there are certain books that are not right for kids to have. He said that is not burning books. It is not suppressing the press. It is not suppressing free speech. It is called being an adult and making sure kids get the right material. Murphy's argument is devastating. He did not need to prove that the Smithsonian is engaged in political activism. He only needed to show that it is not presenting a balanced story. He showed that the museum removed rigorous research from its mission statement. He showed that it is not presenting both sides of issues like gun rights. He showed that academics are not being honest about their biases. He showed that the museum is not serving the public. He showed that it is serving a political agenda. The evidence is clear. The Smithsonian is not a neutral institution. It is a political institution. It is using its platform to advance a leftist progressive agenda. It is not telling a balanced story of American history. It is telling a story that fits its ideology. The larger issue here is not just about the Smithsonian. It is about the politicization of our cultural institutions. It is about whether our museums, universities, and historical societies will present a balanced view of American history or become platforms for political activism. Murphy argued that they should present a balanced view. He argued that they should not be activists. He argued that they should not politicize history. He was right. Our cultural institutions are supposed to preserve and teach history. They are supposed to be objective. They are supposed to be balanced. They are not supposed to be platforms for political advocacy. When they become platforms for political advocacy, they lose their credibility. They lose their public trust. They lose their purpose. Representative Murphy asked the Smithsonian director if the museum is engaged in political activism. She said no. He said the facts smack us in the face otherwise. He said the museum removed rigorous research from its mission statement. He said it does not present both sides of issues like gun rights. He said we don't need political activists in charge of this nonsense. He said certain books are not right for kids. The American people deserve better.